How's it going, everybody? I am back in Fallout 4, and this time I am going to be building a water tower on top of the rooftops at Hangman's Alley. I actually am really excited for you guys to see this build because it turns out to be amazing. And also, I don't even know what I'm doing while I build it, and then I slowly figure out how to do what I had imagined doing with it. It's awesome. I love the way that it turned out. I really hope that you guys like the way that it turned out too. I think that you guys will. It really fits in. It doesn't look like out of place or anything. It's nothing like crazy unrealistic. So because I don't use a huge water tower, I use one of the smaller ones, and it fits right in the little build area that I make for myself on this roof. And I actually make a pretty awesome walkway up it. It's really cool. But the first thing that I did was obviously I blocked off part of the area, made it a little bit safer on one side, which that side you really have a hard time getting to anyway. Also, off camera, I added a bunch of walkways between all of the roofs and buildings and stuff, so I've built ways for the settlers to actually traverse the rooftops. I didn't feel like putting it in a video because I think in all it was 6 minutes worth of footage of me just building stairs, and I was like, this isn't interesting or anything like that, so I definitely didn't include it in anything. But right there, you can see down there I added a couple floors in one area, and then I just placed stairs up to it, or up to the next roof. And a lot of the staircases end up being like this right here, where there's a shack step on the inside of the roof, and then on the other side there is a staircase down. But not all of them have walkways like this one right here, but they still are pretty easy to get across and stuff. But as you can see, this side, I put down some sandbags, and then I wanted to use these wire fences. I messed around with it for the longest time, trying to get two to place into this gap. And then I eventually just settled for one right in the middle, and I just used sandbags to fill in the gaps on the sides right here. And I thought that it kind of looked like the way that I have it angled, it goes... when you look at it from right here, it kind of looks like it's flat against the wall and then kind of comes forward a little bit to be in front of the wire fence, even though it is essentially just straight. So I ended up just filling in the gap in the middle with some sandbags, and I tried to make it the best that I could to look like it has the least just clipping and stuff. It's not too noticeable. But you can tell that there are some pieces that kind of clip through and stuff. But I think that I did a decent job of concealing some of it. And right here I was looking to see if I could maybe add any more wire fence, but it really wouldn't fit in the area. And then I placed the place anywhere tool back there, and immediately I build something in front of it and I can't get to it. So I looked at the two water towers, and eventually I settled for this one. I cut it out because I ended up placing it down, and then I was looking around for a good 30 seconds, where's the place anywhere tool? Even though I had literally just placed it a minute before behind where I placed the water tower. But yeah, so this is the part that I was the most happy with. So I end up this is kind of just the way that I made it make sense. So in my mind, I think of this as a place where water is collected at we collect rainwater in this one, in this water tower. So rainwater like gets in on the top or something. I don't really know because there's not really any holes. You can't really see it though, but we'll just say that there is a hole or something on the top of the water tower. And then there's the big pipe on the front of it. And so anytime that we really need water to be purified, we'll turn that over and water will run down the tarp that I had just placed. And so I originally was just going to have like a bathtub, so like rainwater would fall down into the bathtub. That's why there's a bathtub right there. But in the end, I ended up doing something completely different that I think looks pretty cool. But right here, this is the start of what I was the most pleased with about this build. So I put some scaffolding down, and then instead of just putting like stairs on the scaffolding, I used some wooden beams to kind of put it where it's looking like it's balancing on the actual water tower itself. And then I grabbed this like thin staircase from the scaffolding section, and I just kind of lined it up with the wooden beam. And I'm really happy with like how perfect this like lined up, because it ended up being like perfect width for the staircase to actually fit in that gap. So it was just, I got really lucky with my placement of the scaffolding on the left right there. But right here, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, because I wanted to have something to like have the settlers be able to walk up on the water tower. So I've got like an awesome idea for a bigger version of this, essentially using the oil rig. And I had suggested it to No Respawns whenever he was building his Outpost Zamanja, the one that he just did. That was like Mad Max theme. And he was using like all the futuristic kind of stuff like drilling, which made a lot more sense. Like whenever he said something about having an oil camp, I originally thought, oh, he's going to use like the oil rig as the centerpiece of the settlement, not thinking like, oh yeah, it's a post-apocalyptic game. The oil rig kind of only makes sense in like the Nuka World DLC in the Dry Gulch or whatever. It doesn't really make sense to have in like a settlement. It's also really hard to place anyway. I've always had issues with placing it, at least because it's just so large. But kind of explain what's going on in the build. So a second ago, I just put up some supports on the side of the water tower, and then just put a shack bridge across the top. So now I have a platform. So I did that, and I think that that really helped me finish this build, because now I had kind of an idea of where I was actually going to be building to, where before it was just, okay, I need to figure out what I want to do with this set piece of this build. And then I built that place up there, and I was like, all right, now I have to get up there somehow. And so I think that that's one of the main things that I did that like kind of forced me to come up with something on the spot of how to actually get up there. And I think it turns out really good too. I messed around with a couple things. Also, there's a couple things in here that I think people will kind of find hard to explain, but I'll point that out whenever I get to that point, and I'll explain how it actually would work, and how I tried to like make it look at least like it would somewhat work. But yeah, this is essentially a smaller version of a big idea that I have, that I may do at some point. I'm not sure where I would do it, but it would have to be a big settlement, and it would have to be someplace I could put the oil rig, because it's mainly based around the oil rig. But right here, I am trying to figure out how I'm going to get a staircase up to the actual shack bridge that I placed. And so I placed it to figure out where it would end so I could figure out what I needed to, like, place down where, you know, and what I needed to fill in. But turns out that I had it way too far back. I probably should have done that to begin with, figure out where the stairs are actually going to go down to. But I wasn't sure what stairs I was going to use because I didn't know if I would use more like scaffolding pieces or whatnot. But I ended up going with these wooden stairs. They fit in a little bit better with the like scrappiness of this section of this build. And so I ended up moving the shack bridge back a little bit farther, and it ended up working out perfect, where it was lined up against the like edge of the like air conditioning unit or whatever, that vent system on top of that building. I'm not even sure what that's actually supposed to be, but yeah, so this is the portion that I was talking about. I was trying to figure out how to get settlers over to that staircase because that gap right there is just too tight to fit through, and I can't really move it any farther to the right, the staircase any farther to the right. So I have to go on the right side. So I ended up placing, this is the main thing though, so I ended up placing pallets down. And I do use a shack bridge as like a support, and I was trying to get it to where it was far enough like out on this side so that I could put down another pallet. And so I think that I do that in the video, or I may have cut it out, I'm not too sure. I just edited these like 2 days ago, and I've worked a lot since then, but yeah, it looks like I haven't done it yet, but to get over to those, I had to build a way, and so I essentially do the same thing with these wooden pieces that I did for the gap between the scaffolding and that air conditioning unit right there. The ones on the bottom are balanced. They're like the way I was thinking about it in my mind is they are like wedged between that bar across the top and the actual like vent. So, or the actual like air duct or whatever. So it's like wedged in there and then sitting on the scaffolding. So it's actually held up. But yeah, this is where I actually put the pallet in. So I put a pallet on that side too. This one is a little bit far out. So I can get how some people might think that that would be kind of a little bit like far-fetched because it's not really balanced that well. But I tried, like I put a shack bridge. I probably could add some of those like longer supports, but I didn't want to just like balance those on the AC unit or air duct or whatever right there on the left. But to make it not look just like the same pattern, like just a bunch of wood or whatever, I put down a piece of plywood on top of the wooden beams that I had placed across to the pallets that I had put down as the walkway. But this is like semi-smooth. The hardest part is the right side where the wooden beams are. I think I ended up adding an extra one so that it'd be a little bit easier because the staircase is just so close to them that sometimes walking underneath it, it pushes you to the right a little bit. And like if you had that, it would kind of be dangerous because there is a pretty... Oh, actually, I was going to say it's a pretty long drop off that ledge, but actually it's not because I have housing right there. So really it's like 3 floors up compared to all the way down to the roof of that one overhang. And then to give the people a way over to the tarp if they have to change it or anything, if that got damaged, or also to do what I was saying before, turn that pipe upside down to release some of the water. Then I added these wooden beams that kind of lead out there. But you can see that this isn't like too crazy of a like thought to have. It really makes sense actually. I think it does at least. I think that it like really fits in lore-wise, because like water tower on top of the building, whatever. It's not like too far-fetched. And then, uh, yeah, right here you can see I really like the way that this turned out. I added a water condenser. I got rid of the bathtub that I had in the middle, and I just moved it to the edge of the water condenser so you can see, not water condenser, the water purifier. And then it's a land one because in USO they added land versions, so that is like I placed it down on the ground down there and then used place anywhere to move it up on this rooftop. But it's actually not like too crazy to think about. And what's cool is that you can see right there the tarp from the water purifier I have right on the edge of the big tarp. So water pours down that tarp into the tarp that is connected to the water purifier right there, the blue one, that runs into that and then purifies the water. That's why I just highlighted it like super hard. And so what's cool is like this place, like lore wise, they have a lot of water, that they have like a whole water tower full, and then they're right on the river anyway, so they package water and they send it out to other places in downtown Boston and stuff. So that's like one of their big like things is water supply. So yeah, I definitely really enjoyed this build. I think that it really looks good. The next thing that it's going to be out on Friday, that's going to be the farm. I'm really pleased with that too, and I think that you guys will like that when that comes out. But yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure you guys let me know what you guys think, and make sure you subscribe if you're new. I don't usually ask people to sub, but we're getting really close to 700. But let me know what you guys think of this build. Let me know if there's anything that you guys would like to see me build here or anywhere else. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.